up a dive. Feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's so I remember I share and subscribe. Join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, the secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, monsters, and welcome to this week's episode of Monsters on the Edge here on the Untold Radio Network. I am your host, Barnaby Jones from Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. Happy Labor Day to all of you out there. Thank you all for your service that are watching and listening to this show. And thank you guys all. I was wondering how many people were going to join us live here today. And we already have quite a few in the audience. So thank you guys for sharing today with us. If you guys have any questions or comments throughout the show, throw them in the comments section and we will get to them as soon as possible. So guys, coming up, we are already in September. Can you believe it? The year is flying past. We are going to be in Gaze, Illinois coming up. You can meet myself and see the Hayden Adventure Traveling Bigfoot exhibit. It will be on display at SilCon in Gaze, Illinois, September 19th and September 20th. There's going to be paranormal, horror, anime, gaming, cosplay, and cryptids. It is a full kind of Comic-Con event, so you don't want to miss this. So head on over to silcon.com or sil-con.com for all the details on that. Then guys, September 27th, we head to Van Meter, Iowa for the Van Meter Visitor Festival. There's going to be speakers. I am going to be doing a Dogman presentation as well as other presentations will be there as well, and a walking tour of all the locations of sightings of the Van Meter Visitor led by the one and only Chad Lewis. Head to chadlewisresearch.com/shop for more details on the walking tour and this awesome event. If you guys are looking for something spooky to do this Halloween season, we are offering paranormal tours of the Bean Snappers Gentlemen's Club, the most haunted gentlemen's club in Wisconsin. It has over a 100-year history of the building with 4 recorded deaths, and has been passed down for 4 generations before finally being sold outside of it to its current owners. We have had everything that you can think of for paranormal activity, from sightings, being touched, EVPs, and everything in between. Head to hauntedbeansnappers.com for all the details. Then, guys, this October, if you want to join me for a paranormal presentation followed by a free paranormal investigation, you can come find me October 16th at the Shawano County Library, the Brownsville Library, and the Neenah Public Library on October 25th. So 16, 22, and 25 of October. All the information on all these events can be found at wisconsincaps.com/public events. And then, of course, guys, we are going to be in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin next May for CapCon, May 8th through the 10th. And that's it. That's what we got for now. So, guys, let us get going with today's show. We are live, just so you know. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comment section. We'll get to them as soon as possible. But now, let's introduce our guest. All right, guys, my guest on today's show is Timothy Wayne Williams. He was born in Lafayette, Indiana in 1969. Tim was an accomplished photographer and musician before discovering painting. An avid reader and student of art history, his art reflects many styles and movements of the past. Tim's art cannot be easily defined. One may find impressionist influences or light effects of the Dutch masters in his work. He is always learning and experimenting. His work continues to grow and evolve, whether it is hiding Bigfoot in his landscapes or creating mysterious pathways. His paintings draw in and make you an active participant in the scene. Tim is a self-described eccentric romantic who is more at home at an easel or recording studio than anywhere else. In recent years, Tim's humor writing has found him a loyal following as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Timothy Wayne Williams. Welcome.
Hey, Barnaby, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Now, I got to ask you, now this gentleman club that you're going to investigate, are there girls still there?
It is an open club.
It is still
yeah.
active.
Yep.
Oh,
it's not open when we do the investigations.
Okay.
I know. But it is extremely active, like on security cameras and stuff, things that happen there. And it's very active when it's open. So if you go and partake in the actual club itself, there's a fairly good chance that you can experience something otherworldly as well. So yeah, cool. It's a very interesting place. So
right on.
Are you gonna take a trip up here this October?
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe might have to do that.
Very cool, man. Well, I've seen your work several times. I know that you do a lot of traveling as well. You go to a lot of the Bigfoot and cryptid conventions. So what got you started? Well, let's come back to the painting. What got started with you painting Bigfoot in the paintings?
Yeah. It was something just really benign. I was painting a landscape one day, and I've always been interested in Bigfoot and everything paranormal, really. And I was listening to a podcast, and it was about Bigfoot, and it just inspired, it was not really that any big deal. I was just like, it'd be funny if I hit a little Bigfoot in the painting, So I did that. And I didn't think anything about it. I didn't even tell anybody. And I probably sold a couple dozen paintings where I never even told the people there were Bigfoot in their painting. I didn't think anyone, I just thought it'd be funny if somebody walked by years later and kind of caught it out of the corner of their eye and was kind of like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was having a really slow art show one day, and nobody was staying in my booth. No one was really looking at my art, and I was getting really irritated. So I just started telling people, it's like, hey, this painting over here has a hidden Bigfoot. See if you can find it, just to keep them in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
And before I knew it, I mean, I had tons of people in the booth and everyone wanted to look at it, and then I started selling some stuff. And so I realized, okay, this might be a cool thing to do. And I thought, well, when I get home, I'll get on Facebook, see if there's any, Bigfoot groups. And there's like a million of them, So I joined a bunch of Facebook groups and I started posting paintings, just asking, hey, what do you guys think of these, And then people started asking, hey, are those for sale? And I'm like, well, yes, they are, And so it really took off and started doing really well. I was able to quit my job of 32 years and paint Bigfoot into paintings. It's kind of crazy, but I mean, that's not all I do. I paint a lot of other things too, but the series is kind of ongoing. And yeah, it's definitely my biggest seller.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've done flea markets, craft sales, and now doing like the cryptid events and paranormal events and stuff. And I totally understand people walk by, and especially if you're at events like always in the same booth. You go to like we were talking about CryptidCon every year.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we're taking a year off, because people walk by your booth and they say, oh, it's the same booth I saw last year. And they just walk by. They don't even look to see if you have anything new or anything. So telling people there's a Bigfoot in it is definitely going to get people to stop and spend a little more time, get them talking. And
the other thing I noticed is like, if you at least get somebody in your booth, it seems like it attracts other people. Like, well, what are they looking at? If your booth is completely empty, then people just kind of go by it like, there must not be anything in there worth seeing,
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something that I've kind of noticed.
Absolutely. And we've kind of talked as well. You said that, having these people come to your booth has led to you hearing a lot of stories and encounters from people.
Absolutely. I have heard some of the, wildest encounters. You hear some that are just like, you're just like, that cannot be real. I was talking to Amy Boo about this one time and we both were like, yeah, every event you do, you have about 2 or 3 people who come up and tell you just the most insane story. I'm very open-minded about it, but man, there's some that you just cannot get on board with. But most of them are absolutely, I absolutely believe in totally into the stories. Heard some crazy ones. It's awesome.
Absolutely. No, that's exactly it. I've had Bigfoot museums and other stuff on here as well, and stores and shops and stuff, and people I've talked to. And so when you do regular art shows and stuff as well, obviously, because you're doing these other events, do you have people come up and do you tell them that there's Bigfoot in these paintings, and then do they at other non-cryptid events, do you have people share your stories as well?
Well, I actually have stopped doing fine art events, and so I'm just doing cryptid events now. Yeah, the fine art events, they were okay, but I have more fun at the cryptid events.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little cheaper to get into, and they're just funner. I've made so many good friends, and fine art events, everybody hates it. All the artists hate each other. Seriously, it's like that. Do you see that watercolor guy over there? He's selling right and left. I hate that guy. And they're almost always outside. And that's a huge pain. It's such a risk. You just never know if it's going to rain or what kind of weather you're going to have. I've seen booths literally blow away. So I try to avoid outdoor shows. I think I've done a couple this year, and I think I have one more to do that will be outdoors. But for the most part, I try to avoid them. You just never know. But yeah, no, I've stopped doing them. I just love the cryptid events so much.
That is awesome. That good to hear, man. That's awesome. That the whole community's kind of drawn you in.
Oh, absolutely. I've made some best friends. It's awesome. Been so supportive.
So before you started doing the cryptid events, before you started painting the Bigfoot in there, were you interested in cryptids at all, or was it just kind of like, yeah?
Oh, totally into it. Yeah. Uh, you I'm of that, was very influential, with Leonard Nimoy. I remember my dad coming to get me, and he was like, "You got to see this show." And I went and sat down, and it was the episode that had the Patterson Gimlin film on it, and it blew my mind. It was like, I mean, can monsters be real? Yeah, it's Patty. And yeah, it rocked my world big time. And then my uncle, God bless him, he gave me a book called Strange Stories and Amazing Facts, and I think it might have been a Time Life book. And I read that thing cover to cover so many times, and that was just nothing but paranormal stuff in it. It was just so awesome. And between those two things, it really hooked me big time. I've always been into it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that picture of Patty you had.
I was gonna say, yeah. This is the Hidden Bigfoot series. Some of them are less obvious than others.
This one's kind of obvious. There's nothing hidden in this one, but yeah, I wanted to paint that frame of the footage, and I wanted to do it just like the frame. I've seen people recreate it, and they've cleaned it up and everything. I was like, nah, I want to make it grainy. I want it a little blurry. I want the colors to be faded, just like the film is, And people have really kind of liked that, that I haven't messed with with what it really looks like on the film. I have tweaked the face a couple times, but for the most part, because on that actual frame, it looks strange. It looks like a Muppet for a brief second. And it's like, I'm going to change that. So I have revised the face a little, but for the most part, it's pretty on to what the, actual frame looks like.
Mm-hmm. No, it's very nice. Very good job.
Thank you.
Do you, when you, okay, so I assume that you sell this painting specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have. Okay. So when if somebody wanted to buy this painting, do you sell the original or do you make copies of it and sell like reprints of it? Like how many copies of a specific painting do you have? Or
I don't do any prints really. I do work with a company called Fine Art America that has I don't know, 19 or so of my pictures, and I sell just a little bit through there. They kind of do like a print on demand thing. You can literally you can get a shower curtain of that if you wanted. It's crazy. But I sell originals mostly. I don't even promote Fine Art America hardly ever. The thing is, when I did fine art shows, I saw painters take these things called G-clays that are basically printed paintings, prints, and then they'll put a little paint on it, to give it a little texture, and they'll sell it as original. I saw that happen so many times, and it was like I just committed that I was never going to do that, So I just don't like prints. I don't like them in my house. I want original art, So and I mean, I'm probably losing money by not doing a lot of prints. I'm sure I am, but I'm kind of sticking to this. I just don't like doing it.
No, there's something to be said about, having an original. Like this is a one of one that someone painted.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's got to keep you so busy. I mean, like, I don't know how many you sell at an event, but let's say, how long does it take you to paint an average painting? Like we got a couple behind here. Let me pull up one of your other ones here. Like here, like something like this. Now this one, for anybody looking, this one has a hidden Bigfoot in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So while you're watching this, if you're on YouTube and stuff, see if you can find the Bigfoot while we're talking here. But, so how long would it take you to paint like this picture right here?
Yeah. If I get up in the morning, get plenty of coffee in me, and I keep going, I can finish that in about a day and a half. The thing is, the style that I paint in is it's right in between impressionism and realism. It's probably leaning more towards impressionism, and so it doesn't have to be real tight. It's a little loose. And I do a lot of wet on wet technique. where I don't have to wait for the layers to dry, you know? And so, yeah, so, you know, the technique that I've developed that I can paint kind of quick. You know, some people are like, man, you're cranking these out. It's like, no, not really. I just paint a lot, from the moment I get up to, sometimes the moment I go to sleep, and it's gave me actually horrible carpal tunnel.
That's exactly what's going to be my next guest.
Yeah.
How are your hands, man? Because I mean,
it's more my arms.
It kills me.
It's just, yeah. And also holding the phone, because I do a lot of business, through the phone, through social media, and holding my phone and just, talk, answering comments or, people asking about the painting. Between painting and that, it has killed my arms. So, yeah. So I'm dealing with that. I've got all kinds of creams and everything I put on my arms constantly.
Wow. I see. So again, like most of my listeners and stuff are more Bigfoot and stuff, but I love this, and I'm curious about this. So how long have you been painting? We'll say full time now.
Oh, just about 4 years, I think.
4 years. Okay, so not too long. Not so long. But do you do any kind of like hand exercises, stretching, or anything before you paint? So tell me a little bit about like what your routine is that you have to go through before you start.
Yeah, I do stuff like this where you pull your fingers back. I did go to a physical therapist for a little bit, and I just basically learned all the techniques, and I just took them back with me. It's all about stretching those tendons in there. And so, I mean, it's just really basic exercises like that. Sometimes I wear braces, which I don't have them here. But yeah, a lot of times I wear braces on my arms. I use Voltaren cream. I should have surgery, but the problem is I was talking to the doctor, and he's like, yeah. I said, listen, this is how I make my money. I can't, be down for long. And he said, oh, in about a week, you should be able to paint. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not so bad. And he's like, oh, for like an hour. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, that is not going to work. It's like, I have to paint constantly. So I've been dealing with it. At some point, I'll have to get the surgery, but just right now, I'm just fighting through it. And I have been actually painting a little less than I was.
We are live, guys. If you have any questions for my guest, or if you think that you've spotted the hidden Bigfoot in the painting here, throw it in the comments, and we'll see if you're right or on the right trail. But
there might be more than one in this one. I forget half the time. It's like when I do events, people will be like, where's the Bigfoot? And I'm like, I don't remember. I'm like, let's find it together,
So are they, when you're looking at, like, let's say this specific painting, is there a Bigfoot standing somewhere? Or is it kind of like the old kids magazine where it's like part of the leaves or, like the the shape of a Bigfoot or something?
Yeah, no, it's nothing abstract.
Okay.
It's I want to keep it like you're at that scene and there is something looking at you, So
there's a creature somewhere in
yes.
There. Yeah.
Like a real creature. I've had people, go, is it in the clouds? It's in the clouds, right? And no. I'm not going to do that to you. It's nothing abstract. It's like a very real creature is there. I think that's much more interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was gonna say, because that would make this a million times harder if you're looking for leaf like a Bigfoot and stuff. But
yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, if you're watching this live, guys, look through the picture and see if you can find it, and throw it in the comments if you think you're onto it, and we'll catch back up with that. So
I think there's more than one in that one, if I remember right. Gosh, yeah, I do so many of these.
What I was getting at with how long it took you to paint and stuff like that, and the whole thing is, like if you're painting, well, let's say, what do you do, like three paintings a week then about?
Probably more than that. Probably more like 4 to 5, probably.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Because I was gonna say, like, you do, okay, so 4 or 5 paintings a week, and then you do a big cryptid con or something on the weekend, and you sell a whole bunch of paintings. I mean, you gotta have the stock, and that's where I was wondering if you sell the originals or if you sell prints. Because if you sell prints, well, you got like 10 copies of the same picture, you can just keep selling it. But I mean, this is a lot of work to, have one picture that sells and then it's gone. But
yeah, it's crazy amount of work. Yeah, when I have a show coming up, like I give myself like a month before a show to go crazy and just paint as much as I can. And I'll do smaller sizes, which I can paint, like 11 by 14. I have done 3 in a day. It's tricky, but it can be done, if I'm in the right headspace. But yeah, so yeah, before shows, I go nuts trying to, and oil paint takes forever to dry. A lot of people don't realize that. And I have an additive. It's a medium that I add to the paint that speeds up the drying considerably, thank God. So I can get them varnished before, I take them. So, yeah. But yeah, matter of fact, I got a show at the end of the month, and today will be the day I start painting frantically.
how long, like CryptidCon we were talking about as well. Like I've seen your work there. I've been there with you. We were talking before the show, and that's like one of the biggest cryptid events of the year. So
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even want to guess. Like over 1,000 people go through there, easy, couple thousand.
easily, yeah.
So how long do you plan before that event?
I mean, it's about the same, about a month. My booth space can really only hold about 30, 35 paintings, and I have noticed if I have too many paintings that it gets too busy and people can't focus on one painting, and they just kind of glance and walk by, I think if you isolate it a little more and do a little less, I actually sell a little better. So it's weird. You can overload people's senses, their visual senses. So I try not to do that.
Dookie Pickles says, I see 2 eyes looking between the 2 trees on the left, about a halfway up the tree.
Let's see if Dookie is right.
Let's do this here. So on the left.
Well, this is embarrassing.
Oh, I see something.
Where do you see it?
I see what looks like an arm right here.
Yes.
And
oh, you know what? That painting. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Barnaby. This painting is the Mothman, and that is him.
Oh,
There's only a Mothman in that one. All right.
Surprise! Surprise, people.
Completely forgot I had done that.
There we go.
It's hard to tell in that picture, but he does have 2 red eyes.
Oh yeah, up here.
Yep.
And then he's got like a little antenna thingy or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And his face is actually kind of whitish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one is very subtle.
We tricked you. Sorry, people.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Here, see if you can find a Bigfoot in this Mothman.
Yeah, you see, that's his wing that you thought was an arm. That's like,
oh, this is okay.
Wing. Yeah. Yeah, people ask me all the time, like, well, have you done any other cryptids? And I'm like, yeah, just about all of them. I do a lot of Loch Ness Monster type, or, I call them, just sea creatures. I do those a lot. Those are really fun.
This one kind of looks like a Nessie right in the middle, but,
Yeah, it does. Yeah. This painting is called Flat on Your Back.
Lovely.
I wanted to recreate, like if you were camping and you were just laying in the middle of a clearing, just looking up at the night sky like that.
Very cool. And this one.
This is one of my favorites. I cannot believe it is not sold yet.
I didn't grab that the rope bridge one. I think that's my favorite one that I've seen of yours.
Cool.
I didn't pull that one up, but I just kind of want to go through these a little bit quick here and see.
I do a lot of waterfalls. I just love them. They're
Amazing.
so fun to paint.
So cool. I love the fall too. This one's neat.
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of fall here lately. Matter of fact, I've done too many fall ones. I had a post where I was like, somebody hide my orange because I'm using it way too much right now. And orange is actually not a color that people really love. You know, people who are into Halloween dig it, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's not a color a lot of people have in their home.
Kind of maybe like a seasonal art. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of art in my house, but like, do people like take it down and change it for the seasons? Kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
decorations? Yeah.
I
That'd be
absolutely.
cool.
I have people who collect different seasons, and yeah, they do that exact thing. They'll take the fall down and put up winter scenes.
Tell me about this one.
This one is interesting. I have a friend named Michael Weber who he's bought a lot from me. He's a great collector, and he is always challenging me. And I love that he does this. He'll give me an image and he'll be like, "If you can paint this, I'll buy it." And he found this. This is a 1917, I think, painting. It was done by I think he was a German painter. I forget the name, but he this was called like a soldier and death, and I forget. It might have been a French soldier. I cannot remember, but he showed me the original of this, which hangs somewhere in Austria. Yeah, it must be German, and somewhere in an Austrian museum. And he was like, "Do you think you could recreate this?" And I was all like, "I don't know, but I think I'd like to try." And so it was a really, it just made me a better painter to just try to do it. There's a lot going on there, and yeah, it's a spooky painting, and it has a lot to do with the horrors of war, and yeah, so yeah, Michael is always challenging me on things, and this was one I've done recently here that I really like. No Bigfoot, though. No Bigfoot.
Very fitting for Labor Day today with the soldiers. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pancho says looks almost like a human figure in the upper right hand corner. So up here.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that. That's nothing purposeful.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that, a lot of pareidolia in my paintings. Oh my goodness, yeah, it's crazy.
Kind of fits with the kind of spooky ambiance of the death and stuff, and then having the figure behind it and stuff, or potentially,
Yeah.
That's awesome. I got one more here. This one's really cool. Love the greens.
Yeah, this one has. Let me put my glasses on. This one has a very, very faint Bigfoot in it, and it's almost like it's manifesting, almost like it, if some people believe in that, and I don't know if that's something or not, but some people are like, yeah, why don't you paint one that's like manifesting? And I've done that a few times now, and I can give you a hint. The three trees on the left, he's between the two trees that are spread wider apart, right in between there. Up a little more.
Oh,
You see it?
right here.
Right there. Yeah. See how faint it is?
Nope.
So I wanted to catch it, kind of like it's just starting to come into being, like some people believe that, portal things. I don't know. But yeah, I like painting those though sometimes. Some really kind of freaky ones. For lack of a better term.
That's awesome. I think that was the last one I pulled up. But
that one has not sold yet, which I'm surprised.
It reminds me very much of the I'll just go back. This one, with the kind of the tunnel walkway.
Yeah,
a little bit wider, but
yeah, I'm totally into. I've been called a portal painter. and where I like taking your eye right down the path. I like making pathways that you want to walk down and investigate, like you don't know what's around that bend, and yeah, that's why I say that my art, I feel like my art is a little more like interactive. It's not like something you just put behind your couch and just forget about, just something, that matches your couch or something. It's like most people say that when people walk into their house and they see one of my paintings, they'll stop and they want to know, okay, what's the deal with this, and they'll, kind of create the story in their own mind, what is going on here.
Very like enchanted is the
yeah. I love stuff like that.
It almost like we were talking about like changing it for the holidays and stuff like that. I feel like you could get a whole series of a winter, a summer, a fall of this, and then just swap them out, and it would make you feel like you're in that same space.
Yeah.
But looking down, like I would have this one, and then like I said with the fall one here, very similar, very like just different seasons of taking those pictures.
Yeah, I have kind of done that.
Yeah.
One thing I want to do, and I do have a big enough canvas now that I might do it, is somebody gave me this idea one time in Salt Fork, and I thought it was a great idea, is where you take one painting and you have the painting start in the spring, and as the painting goes to the along, it's changing seasons and make it blend all in together into kind of one thing, but you'll end up in winter. And I was all like, that's kind of a cool idea. And I like the challenge of it. I haven't had a canvas that I need a very wide canvas to do something like that. And I finally do have some back here that I could probably do that now.
I don't want to take the painting down. I just like having it up there. But what's the biggest size that you've ever painted?
7.5 feet wide.
Wow.
By 5.5 feet tall. It was when I first started painting, I got very ambitious, and I wanted to do Noah's Ark. I wanted to do like a real version of Noah's Ark, not a kiddie version. Like I studied everything I could on that. Matter of fact, I even called and talked to some professors of archaeology at Indiana University. And I was all like, now, if a mountain, had been covered, by water for this period of time, what would it look like? I'm super ambitious. And I painted this gigantic, painting. I stretched it myself. I built the frame myself. And I gave it to a church, and it's still hanging there today. And it's actually holding up. I thought when I'd go back and see it that I'd be all like, oh, this is terrible. But actually, it's not bad at all. It's still pretty good. I'm still proud of it. I guess I should say that. But
do you have pictures on your Facebook or anything?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's too bad. I love Noah's Ark. It's my favorite story out of there. And
oh yeah, I'm so into that. I read everything I could on it, and it's fascinating. It really is. Matter of fact, I didn't even put a rainbow. I didn't put any animals in the painting. It was like I wanted the scene to happen after the animals were already gone. They've let the animals go, and now they're leaving the ark, and the family. And there was all kinds of symbolism in it, like the family walks through kind of a puddle of water, and it kind of represented baptism and everything. It was very, like I said, very ambitious, maybe a little pretentious. But, I was definitely, if I painted it now, it'd be way, way better. But, with what I know now, I mean, that was literally back in, I don't know, 97, 98 when I did that.
So you've been doing professional painting for 4 years now, but you're a photographer, you're a musician and stuff before all this. When did you first start painting? Have you always been interested?
No. I was a professional musician for a long time. I was a drummer, and I was in a band, and we were doing really good, and we were getting some major attention, and we were about to. Well, let me give you a quick story. We had been invited to Toronto, Canada, to record a very famous studio, and we were waiting for Guns N' Roses to get out of the studio to go in, and I think they were just mixing one of the Use Your Illusion albums, and in that time frame, our stupid band broke up. If Guns N' Roses would have got their shit together, oh sorry, and got their stuff together quick enough, we probably wouldn't have broken up. But they took too long, and the band got, you know, just it just blew up. So anyway, yeah, I was a musician before, painting, and after that I went. I was so depressed, and I had mentioned to my mother-in-law one day that I was all like, I might try it. I always thought painting would be kind of fun. And she bought me, like a beginner set, and I immediately took to it. After just a little while, I was like, oh, I should have been doing this the whole time. It's like I would be such a much better painter, because a lot of painters start when they're, in their teens or so. I'm well into, probably early 30s, so I started very late.
It kind of, the symbolism and stuff there of going from drumming to painting. Like we talked about your hand stretches and stuff like that. I feel like having the stick or the paintbrush in your hand and that control of playing the drums with your hands and playing or painting with your hands and stuff is kind of very similar skills and very similar like hand control. Is that right?
Yes. And the other thing is, I think I was actually a very average drummer, but I thought I was a very good songwriter and a lyricist. And I have noticed that, there are some similarities in like writing a song and in composing a painting. There are some similarities. Matter of fact, a lot of my painting titles are taken from songs, either songs I've written or somebody else has. And I don't like naming my paintings or titling my paintings something very generic. I do sometimes, but most of the time I like little, sometimes it'll just be a song I've been listening to, that I really like, and I'll take a lyric from it, and that'll be the title of the painting. And some people are reading way too much into it, and some people aren't reading enough into it. Sometimes it's, I go kind of deep in what I title paintings, and I did that with writing songs too.
When you title it, I notice like on the paintings, obviously it doesn't have the title on the front, obviously. Do you put like a little paragraph or like a little print or something on the back about it, or?
I have thought about doing that. I actually normally don't even talk about what the title means unless you buy the painting, and then I will explain it. And it's just one of those things. It's like if you buy the painting, absolutely, I owe you the explanation of why it's titled a weird name. But if you don't, I just like people to speculate. It's just another, I guess, little bit of mystery that I want to add to the entire thing,
So you were doing photography before all the painting and stuff.
Well, I actually should probably remove that from that, because I did do a little photography. I worked for a newspaper for a very short time. Okay. And so, yeah, it's like, I was pretty good at photography. In high school, I was probably the best photographer. I was the main photographer guy in school. But yeah, I probably should remove that, because I was more a musician than I was ever a photographer.
Well, I was going to ask if you had any pictures that you had taken that you have now gone back and painted instead.
I don't think so. I think, maybe a couple of my kids, painting, really good pictures I took of my kids when they were little, and I ended up painting them. There's a couple I'm really proud of.
So when you paint these like scenescapes and stuff like that, are these like, do you look at inspirational pictures, or is this like something that's just in your head now from doing it so often?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. They usually, like, sometimes I'll just see a picture, and I'm like, oh, I like how the sky looks in that, and that might inspire me just to do the sky, and then I'll just take it from there. And there for a while, I was just sitting down in front of the easel with really no preconceived notion what I was going to do, and I would just maybe take 3 or 4 colors, lay them out, and just start painting, just see where it went. And those are kind of fun, that just to see where it goes. Sometimes it's a total failure. I have a whole closet over here. I call my closet of failure, the paintings that didn't work, and I'll probably take them out someday and paint over them. But yeah, most of them I would say come from my head, definitely. But some of them are inspired by things I've seen, like the painting behind me right here. Photographers take that picture all the time, of looking up through the trees, but not too many oil painters do. And so that definitely was inspired by photographs I've seen, but I've never seen one quite like that, where you see like the nebulous kind of Milky Way thing going on. But yeah, mostly out of my head. I do commissions all the time. People send me pictures, and I do those quite a bit. Every now and then, like the Patty picture, I will do something, like that. But for the most part, yeah, it's all out of my head.
I want to remind everyone, thank you for listening here today on Labor Day. But if you have any questions or comments for Tim, throw them in the comments section about any of his paintings or any painting or artist-related questions. Throw them in there. So you did tell me that you haven't had any Bigfoot experiences and haven't gone out looking for Bigfoot, but you've had some other strange experiences.
Yeah, I have what I consider a possible demonic encounter. When I was in high school, I had a band, and just had this little rock band, and we were doing pretty well. And we decided that we were going to save up money. We were going to rent this building that was pretty much just for people to do that, to rent and put on your own show. Mm-hmm. The building was pretty much just a stage, some seating, and then there was like a bar that, if it was an over 21 thing, you could have alcohol in it, or just make it a snack bar like we had to do, because we were all like 17 or something. And we rented all this equipment, and there's nothing to this building. Okay. I can't stress this enough. The building was just 2 garage doors that you could load in and out. It was just for equipment being loaded in and out. And then 1 door that you came in and went out, like if you bought tickets or whatever, you would go through that door. And that's it. That's all there was to this. And the night before our big show we were going to do, we were all standing by the soundboard in the middle kind of the building, and just basically saying goodbye to each other, hey, I'll see you tomorrow, and all of a sudden we hear this loud cackling laugh, just this creepiest laugh. And we look up, and sitting on one of our PA speakers was this dude, this kind of short dude. He looked like Scatman Crothers, if you know who he is. He was the groundskeeper in The Shining. He's the one who explained to the little boy what The Shining was. So if you go back and see that's what he looked like. He's just like a shorter black man. And he was just laughing like crazy. And everyone's looking at each other like, what is he doing here? And how did he get here? Because we had already closed up the garage doors, and we're like, did he sneak in? And we're all like, well, he must have, So they're all like, well, someone's got to go tell him to get out because we're leaving, So everyone kind of pushed me forward to go talk to him. So I walked up to the guy, and I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing here? And He says, hey, I got some for you. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. And I'm like, what is this? What is he going to show me? And this is right out of a cartoon. Okay. He reaches his hand behind his back, just like Bugs Bunny would, where he'd pull out a baseball bat or something. And he reaches out and he pulls Polaroids out. He has a stack of Polaroids between his fingers where he can barely hold it. I don't know how he got this, but anyhow, he pulls them out. He's like, hey, would you like some of this? And he's going through them, and they're super pornographic. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. I'm like, he must be a pimp. Okay. That's what this is. And I'm like, no, absolutely not interested. You need to leave. And the guy, he's like, no, what do you want? What do you need? And I'm like, I don't need anything, man. And then he kind of looks at me he got real serious, and he goes, what do you need? And he was like, staring daggers at me. And I was already creeped out, but that was extra creepy. And luckily, one of the guitar players came up, and he was going through the Polaroids. I'm like, dude, stop. And I'm like, this guy needs to leave. And, so I walk away from him going, you got to go, and it was not, I've been thinking about this, how far it was, and I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't, 30 steps, 20 steps maybe to the soundboard where everyone else was still there. So, I walked from that guy to the soundboard, and we all immediately huddle, and everyone's like, what is he doing here? And how are we going to get him out? And in that split second, how you do the thing where you're going to talk about somebody, but you don't want them to know you're talking. You want to see how close they are, so you glance over your shoulder, before you say something. And the moment I glanced over my shoulder, the guy's gone. So, we're talking the whole thing from me walking away from him to huddling up and looking over my shoulder, 30 seconds, maybe. It was nothing. And, so we're like, where'd he go? Everything's shut. And he would have had to walk by us to get out the main door. And so we're looking around, and it's like, where the hell does this guy go? And like, I even looked under my drum riser. I was like, that's like the only place he could hide. There's no place, there's nothing to this building. And we couldn't find it. We have no idea how he got there or how he left. And, that creeped me out for the longest time. It was nuts. So yeah, that some people are like, oh, that's your crossroads moment. That was your
exactly.
He could have asked, if you wanted, if you sold your soul or something, you could have been a better drummer. And some people are like, why do you think he singled you out? And I've thought about that a lot over the years. And of us guys in the band, I was the most desperate. I was the poorest and absolutely the most desperate to make it. I was all in, and I wanted, that's all I did. That's all I thought about, was like, I got to make it. I told everyone I'm going to become a rock star. This is going to be my thing. And I could see, let's say it was a crossroads moment. I could see why he approached me and nobody else, because I was desperate back then. So
no, that's exactly what I was thinking when you were telling that. It's one of those, let's make a deal kind of things. What do you want? And fame, fortune, and that is a creepy story. But you said your other bandmates saw him though too, right?
Here's the creepy thing about that. Yes, we all saw it. We all talked about it for weeks. My sister was there too. She actually ran our light show. And before I started doing podcasts and telling that story, I wanted to get, also, nobody remembered it. No one. I talked to the guitarist who came up there, and I'm like, remember? I'm like, we looked all over the place. I'm like, how could you not remember this? We talked about this forever, and I just couldn't believe it. Nobody remembered it but me. So I had one crew guy who I'm still was one of my best friends, and he was like, yeah, I think I kind of remember it, but he was really vague on it. So I don't know. I think it's really strange that like only I remembered this,
That's
So,
interesting.
yeah.
That's an amazing story. Like you hear like a lot of it seems like musicians mostly
Yeah.
that have very similar stories to that. Like you always hear about the people that sell their soul to be able to play guitar and all that stuff. And there's
Man, that happens. I mean, I knew some musicians back in the day who, I mean, they told me they were kind of like, I hope I get asked someday because I would do it, in a heartbeat. It's just like, what? What are you thinking? So yeah, it happens. I really believe that.
that's insane. Did you wow, yeah. Um You said you had an angelic encounter as well?
Yeah. This one is really bizarre. It involves, of all things, a toilet. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love where this story's going already.
I'm telling you, these are the two most unique stories you're ever going to
I
hear.
tell you, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
This one, back when my kids were real little and we didn't have a lot of money, and I wasn't getting a lot of hours, and I think my wife was between jobs, if I remember right, and we just did not have money. And this is before I started painting or anything. And we had a problem with our toilet, and I thought, okay, well, I can fix this, So we did have enough money to buy a new toilet, and we went out and got one. I was all like, how hard could it be? I'll take this old one out, I'll see how it goes, and I'll put the new one in. Okay. Well, I tried to put the new one in, and it was not going in right. It just was not sealing right. And I was going crazy trying to figure this out. And I would go to hardware stores and talk to their plumbing expert. And I'm like, okay, here's my problem. And I would kind of explain, like, doing this thing. And they were all baffled. Nobody could help me. These plumbing experts were absolutely worthless. And a good friend of mine just happened to stop by, and his dad used to be a plumber, and he used to help his dad all the time. And I'm like, oh, thank God you're my savior. You can figure this out. So I showed him, and he was baffled. He was like, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know why this is not working either. And so it had gone on a couple days, and the family was getting really irritated with me, going in a bucket and everything else, And it's a stupid thing, but nobody taught me how to do any of this stuff. I always felt like my dad should have showed me some stuff, and he never did, And I was really self-conscious about it, and I was really getting up in my head about just letting the family down. It's like, I don't know how to fix this. We had no money for a plumber, and I just did not know what to do. So I was super depressed. And then one day we went to another hardware store, and I thought, I'm just going to look around. Maybe something will jump out at me. I don't know. There's got to be something that will fix this situation. So I'm standing there just staring at these plumbing supplies, just distraught. I mean, I seriously was distraught. And there was a guy about, I don't know, 10 feet away. And he's like, hey, man, what are you working on? And then I just kind of looked at him. He looked like a younger guy. He looked kind of homeless, actually. And he looked like just a person who wanted to talk. He maybe some diminished mental something. And he just looked like he wanted to talk. And I was in no mood for that, and I was trying to be nice, but I was just like, I was kind of blowing him off. I'm like, listen, I got this plumbing problem I'm dealing with, And he kept saying, well, what are you working on? And I'm just like, man, it's just this, I just didn't want to talk about it. And he pestered me so much. I was like, okay, well, here's the deal. I got this thing and it's not sealing right. And he doesn't say anything. He walks over just a little ways away and picks up this part brings it over to me, and I never even saw this part. Hands it to me, says, okay, now when you do this, you need to do this. And it told me exactly how to put it in. And I'm standing there just like looking at it like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need, I think. And the guy walks away. Okay. And at the exact moment he's walking away, my wife walks up and she says, who was that? And I'm like, you will not believe that guy who just turned the corner. I said, he just showed me how to put this in. He just told me exactly what the problem was and what I needed. And she's like, did you thank him? And I'm like, I think I did, but I'm going to make sure, So I ran down the aisle. The guy had just turned. Okay. He should have been in the next aisle, the very next aisle. And he was not there. And I looked around the whole plumbing section to find that guy, and he was nowhere around. And I thought, well, maybe we'll see him when we check out. I'm not saying I went through the whole store, but I mean, I looked quite a bit through that store, and no sign of this guy whatsoever. And, took that part home, had the thing going in like 10 minutes. It was unbelievable. And, some people are like, well, why would an angel, if it was an angelic encounter, appear to you, over something like that? I don't know. It's not like it was some like matter of death or something, it was something trivial kind of, but I was pretty desperate and pretty depressed at that moment and just really needed somebody just to solve this problem for me, So I don't know, maybe, some people are like, it could have been total coincidence. It could have been, but I don't think so. It was just the way the guy insisted on, fixing the problem. He was just like, what, or he insisted on me telling him what the problem was. He was just like, what is it? What are you working on? So, and just looking at him, you'd think, oh, this guy didn't know anything about plumbing. There's no way. So I don't know. I think over the years, I've been like, I think that was an angelic encounter. I really do. So
it's very interesting. I would tend to agree with you. I think that's like people underestimate that. Like angels, and I do another whole show on paranormal and stuff on Thursdays and metaphysical and all that stuff. So I hear all kinds of stuff like this, and it seems like you ask for $1 million, you don't need $1 million. But here you are trying, you're poor, you can't afford a plumber, you're trying to take care of your family, do the right thing. And this is the kind of situation where when you ask for help, that they come down and just go, here you go. That seems like more the style and what you get from help wise.
I agree. It's just subtle little things,
Nudge in the right direction.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's so cool that you've had both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. The yin and yang of
it's just like
encounters, kind of. Yeah.
Have you had any other it's not really paranormal. I mean, these things are not ghosts or anything, but have you had anything else weird at your house happen or anything in between there? Or
this I hesitate to tell you this because but I don't know what to make of it. So once I got all into Bigfoot and doing the paintings and all this stuff, my sister-in-law made me a huge, Bigfoot thing to put outside, in your yard. This big cutout of Bigfoot, and we put it we live right next to a woods. Now let me stress, I'm in the suburbs. Okay, I've got neighbors all over the place. Okay, but I do have a really nice stretch that has a creek on it, and there is a small woods. Okay, and we put that back in the woods, and that summer, every time I would come out to light the grill, we grill all the time, I would hear a wood knock. Okay, now it's ridiculous. I'm in the middle of the suburbs. Okay, and I remember hearing it a couple times. I was like, that's weird that my neighbor must be, doing something. I'm trying to think, what would he be doing? That sounds exactly like a baseball bat hitting a tree, And I'm just like, that is really strange. But that summer, I kept hearing it every time I would go outside. I would even take people, I'd go, come on, we're going outside. And I'm like, just wait a second. And sure enough, boom, you'd hear what sounded like a wood knock. And I'm like, what are the odds this happens every time I walk out the door? This is really strange. And I mean, 2-3 times in a row, that could be nothing. But I mean, it was up to like 15 or 16 times. And I'm like, okay, now this can't be coincidence, So I don't know what to make of that. It's just something weird that happened that summer. I thought it was really crazy. One thing that freaked me out, though, totally wigged me out, was went one day and that the cutout had moved. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm flipping out and I'm like, that's really creepy. But then my wife's like, they were trimming the trees the other day. I bet they just moved it so they could get access to the tree. I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably right. But man, at that moment when I saw that, I was like, whoa. I mean, totally creeped out.
It's even worse when you walk out there and there's 2 cutouts now.
That'd be wild.
Wait a minute.
Whole family there.
The other one moves. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Crazy.
Back to your toilet story. Patty says God cares about the little things too.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Patty. Absolutely, he does.
Very cool, man. Awesome. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I've thoroughly enjoyed. I don't know a lot about painting and stuff, but I've really enjoyed chatting and all your inspiration stuff, and your work is really cool and awesome, and I love the hidden Bigfoot stuff, and seeing it at the conventions and that. So
cool. Appreciate
it. If anybody has any last minute questions, we'll try and get them in here before we wrap things up. Throw them in the comments. But otherwise, man, we got all your links in the show notes. Tell people where are you going to be coming up. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. The link for your tell us about your book. The link is in the show notes for anybody.
Real quick. So the paintings became so popular, instead of doing prints, I decided I would do a book. I used to do calendars, with Doug Highcheck, and but I decided I want to do a book. And so I have 65 of the hidden Bigfoot paintings in this, and it's laid out like it's kind of a story. It's like you're on an expedition and you're supposed to you need to document how many Bigfoot you see in this particular thing. It starts in the spring, goes all the way. And then at the end of the book, I show you where they all were. So I have them circled.
Red circles around them.
Yeah. So I don't leave you hanging there. But this is on Amazon, Your Bigfoot Expedition. Check it out. It's hardback. And they're selling pretty well. So yeah.
Very cool.
All 5-star reviews.
The link is in the show notes, kind of like a Where's Waldo of Bigfoot kind of.
Yes, but much cooler. Much cooler.
Do you have the Mothmans and stuff in there as well, or just all?
No, this is just Bigfoot.
No tricky Mothmans this time.
No, but I may do one that has a little bit of everything, like ghost and stuff too.
That'd be cool. So where can people find you? Tell us how they can find you online, and any events you got coming up that you'd like to talk about as well.
Yeah, cool. If you go on Facebook, if you go to my artist site, it's T.W. Williams Fine Arts, and you can follow me there. That'd be great. On TikTok, I'm new to TikTok, but it's actually kind of going good for me. It's the Painting Pirate. Just go to the Painting Pirate on TikTok. Follow me. Instagram, it's just Timothy_Wayne_Williams_. I'm on Twitter, but I'm never on Twitter. So I haven't figured Twitter out. But anyway, so those are the big ones. You can always email me at twwilliamsfinearts at Yahoo. I do have a show coming up at the end of this month in Nashville, Indiana. It's I think it's the 28th, 29th. I forget. It's something like that. And then I'll be at CryptidCon again in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'll be in Ada, Ohio, too, for the Bigfoot Jamboree. And so those are the 3 shows I have left this year. So yeah,
Very cool, man.
I think that's it. I will at some point have a YouTube painting show. So I'm working on that right now.
Oh, we didn't talk about your ASMR stuff.
Yeah, that's what the show will be. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be more of an ASMR thing. When instead of being like a technical, I'm going to teach you to paint, get these paints out, and we're going to do it together. We're not going to do that. It's more like you just come into the room, you're sitting down, and we're talking softly, and you're watching me paint. And you'll learn stuff if you're a painter. You will learn, but it's not a hardcore teaching thing. It's going to be more just a relaxing watch the painting, watch the process kind of thing. And I'm putting that together right now.
I could definitely see like I've only recently in like the last 2 years learned what ASMR was.
It's impossible to explain to anyone.
Yeah,
I Google it.
When I was younger, there were certain males in my life, and they would have this certain pitch of voice.
Yep.
And whenever they would get like drone on about some topic or story, my whole brain would just start to tingle, and I'd get like goosebumps and stuff. And I never knew what the heck this was. Dude. And I was scrolling through TikTok one day, and this girl popped up, and she did that to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? What are you doing? And she was actively engaging in trying to do this.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, what are you doing? And I learned what ASMR was. And now it's like, oh, and each one is different for different people, because I've watched a ton of different other ones, and they're all garbage. Don't like them at all.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. It is amazing. When I was a kid, just like you, when I was a kid, if another kid was next to me and drawing with a crayon, and I just watched them draw, I had that same sensation, that, and this euphoric, tingling. You just can't explain it. I tell, if you don't have it, you'll never understand it. And and it was years later. I was listening to it was like, I don't know, something on the radio, and they were talking about this thing, and I was like, oh my God, I have that. I know exactly what that is, And Bob Ross, in his painting show was a huge, he was like one of the first people that people really realized, oh, his soft speaking and all this created that ASMR effect on a lot of people. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to see if I can do it, So that's what I'm working on.
I would think you get some really good quality microphones and put them up against, like, not against the canvas, but right there. And just the brush stroke of stroking it, I think would do it for a lot of people.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You do, yes. Yeah. it's the weirdest freaking thing. Like you said, if you haven't experienced, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are a lot of people think, that's not real. It's like, no, it's very real. Yeah. It really is.
But it's very unique. Like I said, like some stuff that I listen to Luna Bloom on for ASMR, and some of the stuff she does just doesn't do it for me at all. Yeah. But there's a lot of the stuff, like certain things that she says and her voice and stuff, that are just locked in for me and stuff. Yep. It's really a unique thing. So
I could talk about it all day. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very cool, man. So I hope that people go check out your stuff if they haven't. I think a lot of people that do Bigfoot conventions or go to these events have probably seen your work or seen you, especially if you go to CryptidCon. I've heard, I've known about you before that, but I've heard from people, because I run a convention, and they've talked about like having you come up and be at my event and stuff. So I've had you recommended to me from people to
very cool.
And invite.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Love hearing that.
Very cool, man.
Sweet.
So, it's awesome having you on and getting the chance to talk to you and sharing your work and stuff. So
I appreciate it. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely, man. So hopefully people can go check out your work. And like you said, all the your book, your TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and website are all in the show notes for anybody that's listening. You can easily just kind of click over there and check them out. Otherwise, head on over to CryptidCon and some of the other stuff that you said, the Bigfoot Jamboree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one, I can't remember what the first one was.
The Nashville, Indiana one.
Nashville, Indiana. There you go. Awesome. So, all right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. And let me know if you got anything coming up. You get a new book. When you get your other cryptid book, come on, let me know. Come on back on the show.
Sweet. I will. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You take care.
All right. Take care.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you all for liking and sharing. Subscribe. All things here on the Untold Radio Network. All of Tim Wayne Wilson's work. Head on over and check that out. And Williams, I'm sorry, not Wilson, Williams. And head on over, check out all of his work. Grab his book and see if you can go on a Bigfoot expedition in your own living room. Sounds like a lot of fun. Until next week, guys, thank you all for watching, sharing, subscribing, and tuning in. And until next week, I'll see you on the edge.